Hello, music fans. You're watching Death by Unicorn, and now that November 2025 has come to an end, it's time to talk about my top 10 favorite albums in metal, rock, and prog music that came out in November 2025, starting with number 10, which is Asira and their album As Ink in Water. This is progressive metal with black gaze, ambient black metal, post-black metal, post-rock kind of influences thrown in there. And I'm putting this one in my excellent tier. I haven't mentioned it yet on the channel because I missed it the week it came out. Came out November 14th. But this is the second album by this band from the UK. The first one that I've heard, I didn't hear their debut. They're just really great compositions. They take you on an emotional journey. They do mostly clean vocals, but they have a decent amount of this harsh black metal vocal style on here as well. Great guitar work. And I particularly enjoyed the track called Sunrise, or In Sunrise. Great song, great album. And my number 9 is Smalltape and their album Tangram. This is progressive art rock with jazz and pop influences. Check out the track Second Chance for a preview of that. And this is the fourth album by Smalltape. They're a German band, and their last album, The Hungry Heart, from 2021, I also thought was very good. Those are the only two I think I've heard by them, but I like this one even better than their last one. Lots of great acoustic guitar playing, lots of jazzy moments, cool odd time signatures, great songwriting. This is for fans of prog bands like Is and Porcupine Tree, but imagine if they got combined with jazz fusion from the likes of Snarky Puppy, and that's kind of what this Smalltape album sounds like to me. And at number 8, I've got Stellar Circuits and their album Phantom Phoenix. This is progressive metal with alternative metal, gent, metalcore kind of influences in there. And this one I'm putting in my excellent tier as well, just like the last two. Check out the track Same Page for a preview of this one. Stellar Circuits is an American band, and this is their third album. And I thought their last album, Sight to Sound, in 2023 was an excellent album, and this continues that excellence. There's some harsh vocals here, but mostly clean vocals, and the clean vocals can sound a bit emo at times. Most of the melodies are catchy and solid. The guitar riffs are nice and fast, and yeah, just a great album for fans of bands like Monuments and Era. They're not quite as genty as that, but those bands kind of have the big riffs and kind of a metalcore and genty vibe to them. So they have a bit of gent, but not quite as far as Monuments and Era into that sound. But if you like the sounds of that, check out Phantom Phoenix by Stellar Circuit, an excellent album. At number 7, I've got an EP by the band Aeons, and it's called 6EQUJ5. Very easy to Google if you spell it right, but very hard to spell and remember. This one's progressive metalcore with technical death metal influences. And this band's from the Isle of Man. Not a place that you hear of too many bands coming from, but I heard that the Bee Gees were born there, so that's pretty cool. And I like their last album a lot, The Ghosts of What We Knew. That's an excellent album. And this new EP, it's only one track long. It's one long epic track. It's almost 23 minutes long, but it's all just one song. And it ranges from extremely heavy metal moments with harsh vocals for fans of Periphery and the Ocean to beautiful atmospheric stuff reminiscent of Pink Floyd. That sounds good. Check out Aeons and 6EQUJ5. At number 6 is the band Pupil and their album Fleshwork. This is mathcore with alternative, indie, post-rock, black metal, and death metal influences. Check out the track Nomad for a preview here. This is Pupil Slicer's third album, and they're from the UK. I love their first two albums. I love all the stuff that this band has done. So I was anticipating this and expecting it to be a good contender for my year-end top 40, if it could be as good as the last one. If you're a fan of Rollo Tomasi, you should like this because they're similarly a female-fronted metal band. They combine mathcore brutality and intensity with occasional touches of beauty, atmosphere, and catchiness. This album, however, leans more into the brutality than their last album. So it's even heavier than what was already a heavy and extreme album. And I think I would have liked it a bit better if they had a bit more melody. So I kind of like their last one better, but this is still an excellent tier album, and they just punish you with the brutality here. And yeah, still an excellent tier album. The last one for me, though, by them was a near masterpiece, and I particularly like some of the melodic vocals they did. This new one's more like 95% harsh vocals. It only has a few clean vocal moments. So I felt the last one had a better balance, but this band just does heavy, brutal mathcore intensity better than almost any band going today. They're up there with bands like Rollo Tomasi, Callous Dowboys, and Wilt Wither at this kind of style. So that's Pupil Slicer with Fleshwork. At number 5, I've got Spock's Beard with the Archaeoptimist. This is much different from the last one. It's not metal at all. Like Pupil Slicer is not extreme. This is just symphonic progressive rock. Check out the track Aforethoughts here, which continues a kind of series of songs that they did with thoughts in the title. And this is the 14th album by Spock's Beard. They're an American band founded by Neil Morse, but Neil Morse is no longer in the band. Their early albums with Neil Morse, the first 6 albums, so they have more albums without him now than with him, but the early albums with Neil Morse are all near masterpieces for me, but they really haven't reached those heights since he left the band. In my opinion, those are my favorite Spock's Beard albums, but they do still put out excellent stuff even without him. And it's great that Michael Whiteman from I Am the Manic Whale, who helped Ryo Okamoto with his amazing album, The Myth of the Mostraphus, helped to write this album. That definitely got me intrigued because I really loved Ryo Okamoto's solo album, Myth of the Mostraphus. And I think that's exactly what this band needed to get back to their older heights. They didn't quite reach the heights of the Neil Morse era, but I think this could be the best Spock's Beard album since Neil Morse left Spock's Beard. I'm not 100% sure on that. I have listened to every Spock's Beard album, but I'm not as familiar with the non-Neil Morse ones, so I do have to listen to them more to decide on that for sure, how I would rank them, because they are pretty close in quality. I really think all their albums are excellent, though I'm not as big of a fan of Feel Euphoria and Octane, the first 2 after Neil left. But every track on this Spock's Beard album is excellent. Really love Aforethoughts, which has some awesome Gentle Giant-like vocal harmonies. And I love the title track, The Archaeoptimist, which is an awesome, almost 21-minute prog epic track. And the whole album has moments that remind me of classic bands like Kansas, Styx, Gentle Giant, but they also have a more modern and uniquely Spock's Beard sound to them. So if that sounds great, check out The Archaeoptimist by Spock's Beard. At number 4 for November, I've got Moron Police with Pachinko. This is symphonic, progressive pop rock with alternative, electronic, country, metal, like even 80s synth music and some kind of Japanese hints to it. And this one is the first one I'm going to mention here that I'm giving my near masterpiece rating. Everything else that I mentioned so far had my excellent tier. Check out the track Pachinko Part 1. And if you love that, you will love this album. That's my favorite track on the album. And well, every track's kind of different, but they all really work together beautifully. And I love the singles they released ahead of this. And this is the first Moron Police album that I listened to in full, actually, and it's just an amazing near masterpiece. So I went and I dove back into their back catalog. I listened to the previous album and the one before that. I still haven't finished. I haven't listened to their debut yet. I'm kind of going back in reverse chronological order with their music. And everything I've heard from them is solid, but this new one is my current favorite of theirs. The vocals from Moron Police here remind me of Ross Jennings from Haken. Lyrically, the album is a concept album. They wrote it actually after the untimely death of their friend and drummer Thor Pedersen. Very sad to hear. Rest in peace. And yeah, this is a concept album. It's a silly concept album though, that they wrote in a dark time. It's about a guy who turns into a sentient pachinko machine in Tokyo. So despite the band going through a terrible loss, they're managing to make fun, uplifting, lighthearted, silly music. And yeah, the concept of the guy turning into a sentient pachinko machine in Tokyo. I wasn't super familiar with what a pachinko machine is, but I learned that it's a kind of arcade game originating in Japan and used frequently for gambling, kind of comparable to the slot machine in the Western world, low stakes, low strategy gambling. And lyrically, the album has this Japanese vibe. It mentions Japanese locations. The cool thing about this Moron Police album is drums on this album are performed by Billy Reimer from the Dillinger Escape Plan, which is a band I love, a drummer I love as well. And it's a bit of a surprising and unexpected matchup. Here, Billy Reimer plays in a much more straightforward way than what he does in the Dillinger Escape Plan, where he plays that crazy mathcore style. But he's still doing incredibly tasteful and impressive stuff here. Musically, the album mixes pop. It mixes prog rock, metal, country, 80s synth music, and it makes a unique and spectacular sound that is unique to this band. If you like Moon Safari, I think you'll like this. Some of their older stuff that I've checked out is even sillier and leans more into the comedy and almost reminds me, it's reminiscent of Flummox. Like their second album in particular is heavier and has even more kind of a metal vibe to it. So just a fun, catchy, silly, uplifting, progressive band that kind of just does what they want and makes great banger music. Check out Pachinko by Moron Police. At number 3, I've got the Reticent with their album Please. And now this is the complete opposite side of the spectrum. Not fun. It's very dark, very depressing, very sad. It's progressive death metal. There's some spoken word narration. It's similar to the Moron Police album in that it is a concept album. They get experimental. They have some acoustic moments. They have post-metal. This one's also a near masterpiece. And I've went back and listened to a lot of other stuff by the Reticent now, and just they're an amazing band. Check out the track The Concealment, Those Who Don't Want to Wake, and also The Scorn, Those Who Don't Understand. This is the 5th album by the Reticent. They're an American band, and it's just very dark, it's very somber, it's serious, intense, it's heavy. It's a concept album about mental illness and suicide, and most of the album has clean vocals, but there are harsh vocals too. The Scorn in particular reminded me of Opeth a lot. The growls there in the music in that track were a lot like Opeth. And yeah, this is a band I'm really getting into now. They did this concept really well. Their older stuff, I went back to check it out, and I was hoping some of their stuff from the past would be less depressing, but so far everything I've heard from them is very sad, very dark, very depressing, but very beautiful and well composed and well played. So they are a bit of a one note kind of band on that kind of emotional spectrum. They don't seem to be doing like a happy dancey pop song ever. But if you want to hear this dark, existential, sad, disturbing, somber, introspective concept album, I don't think very many bands do it better than the Reticent here. Everything I've heard from them is amazing. Their previous album, The Oubliette from 2020, is another dark concept album about a man named Henry with Alzheimer's / dementia, maybe. It's also excellent but depressing. And I'm diving into their back catalog, loving what I'm hearing. Definitely a good, strong contender for year-end list as well. My critique would be the spoken word and just the intensity of this negative subject matter expert. It's a double-edged sword. It's kind of what makes it great. It's great at making the artistic statement, but it also holds it back from being something that I want to listen to over and over again because it's almost too dark and too depressing, and spoken word sometimes doesn't do it for me. But I have to give them props for this amazing piece of art, Please by the Reticent. And at number 2 and 1, I've got some by bands that I just love that have hit it out of the park again. And while I feel weird putting my number 2 and 1 above my 3 and 4, like my number 3 and 4, because they're concept albums, they might almost be objectively better. I feel like I just have a bit more familiarity now with the top 2 artists that I kind of had to put them at 1 and 2 for this month. So at number 2, I've got Jonas, Lindberg, and The Other Side with their album Time Frames. This is progressive rock, another near masterpiece. Check out the tracks Faces of Stone, great track to introduce you to the band, and then Groovin' is their instrumental, which is also awesome on here. This is their third album. It's a Swedish band, although it's more of it's led by Jonas Lindberg. He has other people contributing to it. And yeah, it's I knew his first 2 albums are also amazing, so I knew if this could be as good as those, it would be a contender for my year-end top 40. Or maybe I don't know if I'm going to do a top 40 or top 25 at this point. Don't know how long I want the video to be for my year-end video. But I love everything that Jonas Lindberg and The Other Side's done, and they maintain that level of quality throughout their career and have put out another near masterpiece here. I do think I like the previous album just a little bit better than this third album right now, but I prefer their third album to their debut, so I'd kind of rank them like their second is my favorite, then their third, then the debut. But they're all pretty close in quality. It's really hard to rank and say. And this album, Time Frames, ends with a over 17-minute prog epic called The Wind, which is awesome. The instrumental track Groovin' is nice. And throughout the whole album, there's a variety in the vocal department. There's moments of both male vocals from Jonas himself and another Jonas Sundqvist, as well as female vocals from Jenny Storm. And I enjoy all 3 of their vocals. They bring nice variety to the album. And yeah, definitely check it out. Faces of Stone is great. Also, End of the Road, just great tracks on this album. Time Frames by Jonas Lindberg and The Other Side. And my number 1 album of November 2025, I feel weird putting above my number 2, 3, and 4, but I just kind of like listening to it. It's Stargod by Astronoid. And this is progressive post-metal with shoegaze, progressive rock, black gaze, dream pop, synth pop, alternative metal, thrash metal. I guess they call it dream thrash is kind of their genre, and it's another near masterpiece. Check out the track Third Shot for a preview here. This one's a bit more straightforward than a lot of the others I mentioned, but it's also still pretty unique. And Astronoid's just a band I love. They're an American band, and this is their 4th album. They have a unique sound with melodic vocals. They're somewhere between the dream pop and emo style vocals, but then they have more of this progressive post-metal style of composing where they also mix in some black gaze and thrash metal style of playing. And yeah, just Third Shot's a beautiful single, my favorite on the album so far. The album just has catchy vocal hooks. They do all clean vocals here. Great atmosphere and emotion, great guitar riffs, a bunch of killer guitar solos too. They have nice synthesizers. There's moments on the album that remind me of Devin Townsend, who I love, Deftones, which I love, and Def Heaven even, with their ability to combine all this big chunky metal with atmospheric beauty. Some moments remind me of 80s pop, hard rock, arena rock, hair metal even, with anthemic vocal lines, some flashy guitar solos. And some moments even remind me of the emo and pop punk bands like Blink-182, post-hardcore like Moron, indie, like it's all kind of mixed into a very nice sound that's unique to them. They have moments with simple, slower 4/4 pop drum beats, but then they also have moments of blast beats and moments of progressive drumming. Very unique, captivating, full of earworms. Keeps making me want to listen to it again. That's Stargod by Astronoid. And that's it for my top 10 of November. Really, any of the top 4 that I mentioned, you could kind of juggle those into any order because they're all near masterpieces. They're all so great, but really you should hear all 10 of these if you're a fan of metal, rock, and prog. What do you think of these albums? Let me know down in the comments. And did anything else come out in November that you think I might enjoy? Or put your top 10 or your top 5 or however many you want to put any recommendations down there in the comments. Always appreciate it. And if you like metal, rock, and prog music, you're in the right place. I talk about my first impressions of new music as it gets released every week. And since we're in December now, I'll probably be doing year-end content. But my next episode in my New Music's Alive 2025 series, I'll be talking about new live albums from Tesseract and Persephone, a new EP from Am I in Trouble, and a new LP from the Belgian black metal band Enthroned. So those are some of the new things. There is still new music coming out in December, despite people making their year-end lists. But I'm also thinking about putting up doing a bunch of different top year-end lists, like doing a top 5 instrumental albums video, probably do a top 5 post-hardcore albums, top 5 metalcore, mathcore, top 5 black metal, a bunch of different rock subgenres, metal subgenres. Maybe even I'll do a list of things that aren't metal or rock. I mostly focus on metal and rock on this channel, but I might touch on, make a list that's like everything else that's not metal rock, like combine some folk, ambient, jazz, fusion, pop, classical, electronic, other stuff that I listen to. Put up my top EPs, best progressive rock albums, and the big one being just what are my top 25 albums of 2025 overall. What are the top debut albums, top prog epics of the year? Let me know also if you have any other suggestions for video topics. Those are the ones I'm thinking. If you want to see those lists, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay in the loop. And when I post all those videos, I will try to make all of those in December, but that's a lot of work, and sometimes they're busy, so may spill over into January as I'm putting those up. But stay tuned for that, and peace out.